Hi, I'm Antoinette with Transistor Radio, where we round up the news for you. I want to start off today with Medicare for All. The Michigan's 13th District Congressman John Conyers, that's with a Y, he has introduced H.R. 676. That's House Bill for Medicare for All. And Bernie Sanders has been doing it. He already introduced his bill to the Senate, and now John Conyers is doing it for the House. Now, of course, we're having a problem getting Democrats. I mean, it's amazing how many Republican voters want it. You know, Bernie Sanders went down to West Virginia, I think a month ago, and he was getting rounds of applause when he talked about Medicare for All. They love him. They love him. Not to mention the fact that Bernie Sanders is the most popular politician that we have. 61%. That's mind-blowing for the entire country. Half the country doesn't even know him. No. Anyway, we have 193 House representatives. Not the Senate, and the House. Those are Democrats. And out of those, only 80 of them are supporting this bill so far. But this is where you come in. This is where the things that you can do. Now, email is great, but what really works is phone calls. You have no idea, because they have to answer their phone by law. Somebody has to answer that phone during business hours when it rings. Now, we're going to be attaching to this video the contact information for your congressman and your senators. So you'll see two different links below. So check those out. Scroll down alphabetically and you'll be able to find his number. Just dial him up and say, support Medicare for All, House Bill H.R. 676. And if you don't, we're going to vote you out of office. Because it's as simple as that. Because they work for you. You don't work for them. We are their boss. So let's crack the whip and get him in line. Now, we have people like Nancy Pelosi, who is the Congress minority leader for the Democrats. And I'm going to be attaching a video. I'm not sure if it's going to be in this segment or not. But no, it's going to be in the next segment. But it'll be hilarious. You'll love it. You will definitely love it. But Nancy Pelosi doesn't want Medicare for All because right now what we have, and she's really happy with it, she's like, oh, I got to keep my Affordable Care Act, my Obamacare. She's just so happy. And she's stuttering. She does her little shake. She's got that little Nancy but the stutter Pelosi thing going on there. She's just so adorable, and I just want to choke her out. Nancy Pelosi likes the ACA because it's still a money-making endeavor. It's still for-profit health care, and that's the problem. Certain things I understand that government should stay out of, and it should be for-profit. Let the market handle it. But there are certain things, for the common good, like water, and police and fire department, your health care. Just think about not having to think about health care. It's coming out of your taxes. Go to the doctor. You get taken care of. It's awesome. It's amazing. You don't have to, you don't have to stress about making a payment, or if I lose my job, am I going to be able to keep my health care? I mean, if you're constantly thinking about that, then you never leave your job. Even though your job is shitty, you stay in that shitty job because, hey, I could lose my health care. I'm not about to give this up. And you can't live like that. Eventually, it just ties your stomach in knots. Wouldn't it be better if you didn't have to think about that? But Nancy likes this because she's not really a Democrat, even though she calls herself a Democrat. These days, Democrats are Republican light. That's what I like to call them, Republican light. They will always be beaten by Republicans because they're not quite Republican enough, but they're still got their hand in the cookie jar. They're still taking that corporate money. And that's why they never want to change the system, because they're getting paid. They're getting paid by these insurance companies. They're getting paid by these pharmaceutical companies. Medicare for All, it's good for you. It's not good for them. So they will constantly vote against it. This started off as a Republican plan back during Richard Nixon's tenure. He came up with this idea. And of course, it devolved up until the end of the Bush era, and then Obama put an actual law in place. But this started off as an idea from Nixon. It was written up by the Heritage Foundation, which well, maybe you don't know, but the Heritage Foundation is a very right-wing think tank. They are very corporate-run, corporate ideas. And Newt Gingrich and Chuck Grassley tried to push for this in the 90s. Mitt Romney actually had it in his state in Massachusetts. That's why they called it Romneycare. And Bob Dole even did it as well. So this has been around for a while, but they were always a Republican plan, which is why the Republicans can't find anything to replace it with. It's like, how are we ever going to find a more Republican plan than the plan that we have to replace our Republican plan? They can't do it. It's just impossible. So if it's more Republican, if it's more right-wing, if it's more corporate, then that means that you're going to get less coverage. And that's what you're seeing all across the country. People losing their minds because they're afraid to lose their health care, what little bit of health care they've got. The ACA wasn't supposed to be the end-all, be-all. That's why it still needs some fixing. Ultimately, it was supposed to be a baby step towards Medicare for all. But now we've got Bernie Sanders pushing it in the Senate, and you have John Conyers in the House pushing it. So call your congressman, call your senator, say, if you don't vote for this, we're going to vote you out of office. This is as simple as that. They work for us, not the other way around. And I want to give you a couple of quotes. This is from Donald Trump during his I believe it was from the summertime. After he was nominated as the Republican candidate, they interviewed him, and he said, and this is only one of like 5 quotes that we've heard over the years of Donald Trump supporting universal health care. He says, if you can't take care of your sick, then it's over. I support universal health care. That is what he said, and he said it several other times in the past. Just look it up. Of course, he was basically telling his voters what they wanted to hear. I mean, it's what I want to hear. I want to hear universal health coverage. Absolutely. Medicare for all sounds great. But he was telling them that. He has no intention of giving it to him because he's a con man. Donald Trump is a con man, and you know this. Even the people who don't believe it still want to believe that he's truthful. But deep down, he's full of shit. How can you trust anybody with a comb over? That's all I got to say. And I want to finish it off with 2 things. A recent Gallup poll, and Gallup polls are not fake news. Gallup polls have been around for a long time, and they are generally pretty good at getting the median number that you would need. And Gallup poll recently came out, 55% of Americans want Medicare for all. Usually you get it's split up with people who think you deserve no health care, and then there are some people that you think deserve some, like the ACA, and then there's another portion that thinks Medicare for all would be a good thing. They're cut up into thirds, but no. 55% of the country want Medicare for all. I believe that we should have this as a human right. Your country should be able to take care of its sick. We're not always going to be sick. We're going to get better. But when we are feeling healthy, then we take care of those who are not. It's how it works. The people who are in good shape take care of the people who are in bad shape. And that way, a tide raises all ships. It's a good thing. It is a good thing. And I want to finish it off with something funny. This is a Bernie Sanders quote. And he was speaking about the House Democrats because he's not a fan of the way the House Democrats are constantly spending. They're constantly about the money. They don't really care about helping their constituents. They just want the money. But they know this is a failing system. So he says about them, the House Democrats would rather go down with the Titanic as long as they still have first-class seats. I think that basically explains it all. You're willing to kill yourself as long as you can be comfortable doing it. So I say to you, call your congressman, call your senator, make this bill happen. H.R. 676, Medicare for all. Hey, this is Antoinette from Transistor Rodeo. If you like what you saw here, please subscribe for more videos and content, and you can follow me on Twitter at Transistor Rodeo.